Hello, everyone. Welcome to Size of Broken Men. I'm Marcus. I'll be the host today. And as always, I'm joined by my silky and smooth co-host,
Juan. Hi.
Yes, hello. And today we're joined by a very special guest that we have known for a little bit now from high school. It's Tony Tai. What's up, man?
What's up? I'm very happy to be here. My name is Tony Tai. How are you guys doing today?
We're good, man. Happy to have you.
Yeah.
We can talk a little bit about how we know each other. So I don't know who wants to take that. Juan, do you do you want to go for it?
I mean, I can't, but if I'm being 100% honest, I don't really remember. He's just there. Like,
What?
okay,
I was
yeah.
just there?
You were
Now
just
that's
there.
crazy.
Dang,
No, yeah,
brutal.
yeah.
That's crazy. I was
So-
the dude back in high school, all right?
Oh, yeah,
I
for
was
sure.
I was the SBO secretary.
Yeah,
You know what I
he
mean?
was- He's the head
That's
honcho.
basically it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So like, I remember. I swear, I do not remember meeting you, Tony. I
Really.
don't. I just like one day I was like,
One
I
day-
just started talking to you.
One day I was just like, oh, I guess Juan's a cool guy, I guess. I don't even remember how I met you either.
Exactly.
To be honest, I think it was in Mr. Griffel's class, and
Was it?
it
Yeah.
was an AP class. But I know Marcus pretty well because we were both in the IB program together.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so at least so we all met in high school. I met Juan like my first year at the high school that we went to, in just the library through mutual friends. But yeah, I knew Tony Tai through the AP classes that we took. I'm pretty sure we probably met in like AP what, history?
It was
AP US
physics. Yeah.
Was
Well,
it
right?
physics our first class? I thought we
Yeah,
met
I'm pretty sure.
sophomore year.
Oh yeah. I don't know, man.
It's all such a blur.
But for those of you that don't know, IB is like it's a 2-year program. It's basically 8 college level courses, and the entire time you want to kill yourself because you're taking 8 college level courses at a time. You know what I mean? And it is just so torturous because the whole time, every single IB student I've met ever is like the most sadistic bastard on the face of the planet because they just hate themselves and they hate everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that most IB students low-key enjoy getting stepped on. You know what I mean? It's just the way that goes. Anyway, Marcus and I are IB students. I don't know what that says about our character, but it's certainly probably not that good. You know what I mean?
You're saying all this, and you're saying how IB students are sadistic.
Yeah.
Knowing Marcus for this long, some things are starting to add up.
What are you saying,
well,
dude? I am kindest guy out there.
Some things are clicking right now.
No, I guarantee it. Marcus is like actually a psychopath underneath that. You know what I mean? Like
100%. Yeah, dude, guaranteed. Yeah.
I'm pretty
I'm
sure
not like
25. They did a study on it. All right, 25% of all IB students are crazy sadistic terrorists. Did you know that? The
Makes sense.
CDC itself, the CDC confirmed this along with the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
Do you know
Sounds
this?
about right. Yeah, sounds about
You learn
right.
something new every day, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Well, bro,
But-
AP students can't be that far off of it either.
Okay, well, that's true. That's true.
I mean, no, not really. I'm not. No, but you take things to another level. One time we were at a park and he started torturing a tree.
What are you saying,
Classic.
dude? It was
Like, it's a
just
tree.
it had
it's a
dead
tree.
branches.
No, they weren't dead. They were nice and green, and Marcus just started pulling it off, and I got mad, and I was
bro,
like,
I was
"Bro,
bored.
Yeah, that
leave it
makes
alone."
sense.
Yeah,
What are you
sadistic. Sadistic. It's insane.
Now, take it from me. All right, I'm no sadistic, crazy terrorist, but I think if there was one thing that really drove me off the edge back in high school, it would have been our IB coordinator. Now, I can't say their name because that'd be crazy, but man, they freaking hated my guts, dude. I remember one time we were in the middle of a research class. It was just a study period. There were 2 hoes screaming in the middle of the classroom, just absolutely just yelling, right? And they're screaming about which TV shows are better, British cooking TV shows or American cooking TV shows. Now, I don't watch either one, so I'm gonna have to say that the British ones are probably better, but I won't know though. All right. The IB coordinator is just sitting there. She's chilling. She's looking at these 2 wenches screaming at each other full blast in the middle of the classroom. Nothing. She doesn't even blink an eye. 5 minutes later, everything calms down. And there's an Indian guy. His name's Akash. All right. Now, Akash, I love the guy. but there was one week that he was absolutely freaking insufferable. And that was when he went to Bath and Body Works and brought home some lotion, mahogany lotion. And he would carry that like freaking he would lug around that huge bottle of mahogany lotion the entire week. And whenever he saw anybody, he would offer them mahogany lotion. And it was the most insufferable thing that I've ever seen in my entire life, right? And so he turns to me in the middle of research class. Everything's quiet now. And he looks and he says, Tony, your hands are looking kind of mighty ashy right now, my boy. And I was like, that's crazy, Akash. Thank you. And he was like, you want some lotion for that? And at this point, I remember feeling so impressed because it's like, who takes the time to look at somebody else's hands and offer somebody lotion? Of course, it was just Akash being Akash that week because he offered everybody mahogany lotion. But I didn't know this. And so I was super impressed. And I was like, man, Akash, I'm truly glad to have a friend like you. And I was like, Akash, you're truly a king amongst men, a prince, a living legend. All right. I said this in a quiet voice. And the IB coordinator turns toward me and I can feel her freaking killing intent, dude. And she's like, Tony, can you please stop talking? And I remember crying because I was like, there's just no way. You had two women in the middle of the room screaming at each other. And then when I sit here, I ask Akash for some freaking lotion, you go ballistic on my ass. You know what I mean? I was crying. And she starts like screaming at me because I wasn't doing work, but I was like, how can I do work? I'm putting lotion on my hands. You know what I mean? And she's like, please get to work. And I was like, I have lotion. I turn around and I feel like my sixth sense. I can feel her like glaring two holes into the back of my head. You know what I mean? Anyway, it was certainly something.
It was brutal. And like experiences with that coordinator, like it was insane because it was clear that about half of the IB, not player base, what is it called? Student body, I guess. It was very much favored by her and really, really had a good time with her and all that sort of thing. They had fine relations with her. And that's why she didn't, scream at them two girls. But yeah, just half of us, for whatever reason, she absolutely despised. Like there was one of our friends, I think we can name him. His name was Wenson. But anybody who knows Wenson, like he's the most mild-mannered individual like around. Just like there are very few occasions where Wenson like raises his voice to any sort of level that bothers anybody or does anything crazy. And
I've
like,
never
Wenson
seen him get mad ever.
Exactly.
Not even once. He's always been so chill.
And then in the room that the IB coordinator works in, the research room, like there are, I don't know, there's like 15 people in the room and they're all just chilling about doing whatever. And like, I don't know, maybe one or two of them are working on stuff. And that's her big thing that she calls everyone out on. And then Wenson is trying to like fix a keyboard. He's actually trying to work. And then she just goes crazy. Like, Wenson, what are you doing? Put that keyboard down. And she just freaks out, dude. It's insane. And like Wenson is so chill. And it's just, I don't know what's happening because like, it's not that it's a bad day or anything like that because she clearly doesn't care about like all the other 14 students in the room, but it's just for some reason Menson's trying to mess with his keyboard to get it to work better. And yeah, she just loses it. And that happened on plenty of occasions. And man, IB was
if she
so much
did
less
not like you and you dared to fart half a fart within her vicinity, she would snap your neck within a heartbeat, dude. No joke.
Has there ever been any like student to talk back? No one dared.
I can't remember. I think it was because she wasn't there often enough for me to care because like when she was there, it was hell. But when she wasn't, it was freaking party time in the study room, baby. There was another IB coordinator. I think he was like the head of the IB program. He was the chillest dude ever. I think not to flex or anything, but I was like his favorite student. I could have probably bombed an orphanage in front of him, and he probably would have looked at me and been like, Tony, I'm a little bit disappointed right now. And then he would never rat me out. In fact, if the cops came for me, he probably would have taken the heat for me and been like, it was me. I did it. And then he'd turn to me and he'd be like, live your life, Tony. 100%.
Yeah, dude, for real. The head of IB. Yeah, he was so cool. I had him, and when we first came to school, he wasn't in charge of IB or whatever. He was teaching Spanish and I took Spanish from him. My sister took Spanish from him. So he like relatively knows my family. He is so cool. And like, I remember one time in junior year when it was like language arts or something, we had a really uptight teacher And she was saying like, if you're on your phones at all, I'm sending you down to his office, and like he's gonna chew you out. So one time she sent like 4 kids down to his office. It was like in the middle of the period, so there was like 45 minutes left or whatever. They come back with like 10 minutes left in the period when everything's winding down anyway, and they just have a bunch of like Pepsis and colas in their hands. They're like, yeah, he hooked us up, man. It was sick. And they just chilled out in his office for like 30
Yeah,
minutes.
then they just he would just give people candy because he did not care. You know what I mean? He was like, all right, these teachers, they're stupid. And he was the only cool dude on the face of the planet or on that campus. Straight up. The only cool male teacher there. Well, except for maybe there were one or two others. But yeah, but he was definitely the coolest guy there. 100%.
Yeah,
there's no doubt in my mind.
So much more bearable with him there. Like there were multiple occasions where I was planning on just quitting it and ending it all. And he was like, nah, man, like you gotta stick with it. You can do it, and like it'll be worth it in the end. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but I did feel good about it, and I did continue it because of him. So he was a really great support, and I appreciate him a lot.
That's good. That's good.
But Juan, obviously we were in classes together in our sophomore year taking AP and stuff, but Juan, you went in a little bit of a different direction. So how was that kind of experience for you?
So I went the concurrent enrollment route, and they weren't hard at all. They just took up a lot of time. I feel like most high school classes are like this though. Like I had a cousin who'd always complain about, they were in AP and they'd always complain about AP, saying like the classes are super hard. And then when I took the same class he did, specifically government, it wasn't hard at all. It's just a lot of memorization, and like, remember the flashcards? Like that took a lot of time, but like it's not that bad. And I went the concurrent enrollment route, so it's helped me because like since I'm going to college in the fall, no, in the spring. In the spring, yeah.
Is it in the spring?
I'm going spring semester. No, I'm in spring semester. Yeah, so I'm going spring semester, and then I've talked to like a counselors, and I don't have to do a lot of stuff because I'm already pretty caught up. So
that's sick, dude.
I didn't have any suicidal tendencies because like you guys. So
lucky.
Yeah, so I
was like the administration
of.
I was like the administration at concurrent enrollment. Like
so okay. So they were super chill, they treated you like adults, because like in their program, in their eyes, that program is not like they don't treat you like high school students at all. Like, you know how some teachers have an issue with like leaving you alone in the classroom, like just by yourself? Like they do it all the time. They just leave. When we'd get subs and stuff, like the subs would just sit in the office because we had our own program and like our own like management thing. So that was really fun. So like it wasn't a lot of micromanaging, and I've never experienced any yelling like you guys did. So I'm happy. I'm great with my choice. Yeah.
Yeah, I had wished that I had gone into that sort of direction as well. Well, not necessarily, because IB did I think give us both experiences that were unique to the program and that did make us grow positively in some ways. But man, concurrent enrollment, I feel like it's so much more like specific to what you want to pursue in general. Like
exactly,
you said, you did business, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like if you have a general idea of what you want to do already, then that's probably the route you should take. So
plus I made a bunch of cool connections. Like I think I told you, but like I don't know if I've told anyone else, but like we met with like for one of our projects, we had to meet with like a business owner, right? Like someone who like opened a business or successful in any type of way with a business. And I had the opportunity to interview his name is Dan Farr. He's the CEO of like FanX here in Utah. So like, I have him as a connection now. He's on my LinkedIn. I was like, hey, it like, honestly, like I just created a bunch of connections. And dude, it's sad for you guys though, honestly, having to deal with like the coordinator that way. Oh, dude.
Nah.
Hear me out. I'm glad I didn't go into that route, because I swear on everything, I would have snapped at that teacher. Like I have a big, and it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, but I have a big problem when there's like teachers who like belittle you like that or condescend you. It's such a big issue with me. Yeah,
and like the IB coordinator had a spouse that also worked there that we took a class from.
I interacted him.
Yeah. Juan and I actually both ran into him in like the hall before
he was during an assembly.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So me and Marcus, so I was leaving to that concurrent enrollment program thing, and I get they give us like 30 extra minutes, so it was like at 11 we could go to the lunchroom, eat, and then leave. Whereas normally a lunch, I think it was a lunch, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I think normally a lunch started at like 11:45, 11:30, something like that. But I could eat early. But during this day, we were having an assembly, and it was during Christmas, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
Well, yeah. So and I had Coke in my locker, in our locker. So we went. I had to go get it.
Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah,
Not
Coca-Cola.
cocaine. Good stuff. All right.
Just because I'm brown, you assume cocaine?
No, I'm
No.
just making it so that way the feds don't get confused. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point. Good point. So we were going to our locker, and then this, we can't say his name, but he stopped us and he's like, "Where are you guys going?" And I was like, "I'm going to my locker to get something." And he's like, "No, you guys can't go that way." And then again, I have an issue with like authority, and I was like, "Yeah, I can." And he's like, "No, you can't." And I'm like, "I can. It's right over there." And then he's like, "Really? You're gonna play that route?" And I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna go get something from the locker." And he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "I'm leaving for C-Tech." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Because then he has no grounds to like actually say anything, because I have like, it's in my right to go get my damn soda. And then he's like, "Well, only one of you needs to go." And I was like, "Why can't he come?" And then Marcus like looked at me and he's like, he just shook his head. And then he's like, "I'm gonna go to my like secondary class."
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't taking C-Tech, so I knew that if we went down that route, unless we lied and bluffed hard, like it wasn't gonna go anywhere. So I cut our losses. But yeah, like for context, this guy is ex-military. He's, I don't know, 250 pounds, something like that, and he's like probably 6 foot, something like that. So for Juan to stand up to this guy was awesome, dude. I was such a big fan of you because I mean I didn't really say anything because I wasn't as eloquent.
If it got physical, I could take him easy.
I don't know about that, but I like the confidence. Yeah.
No question, dude.
Yeah, me. If I had been there, I would have done quadruple backflip roundhouse kick.
No, dude, no
you know
question.
what I mean? I'm just that
there,
dude. I'm just that dude.
If Ty was there, bro, like I'd let him take the rounds.
I will have killed him in a single second with my 1-inch punch. You know what I mean? I will have flicked him, and his whole brain will have exploded. No joke. You think I'm lying to you right now? Look at me.
Man. Dead eyes, dead serious. Yeah, and anyway, and those teachers are like, dude, like I don't know why they no,
there was not a single hot teacher there. All right, get that inside your head. All right,
they're I don't know why they are the way they are. Like, who ruined your life to the point where like it's like I'm trying to go get my soda, dude, just a soda, and yeah, I don't know, it was weird.
Well. Where have you guys been? Where have you guys been after like high school? Because it has been like a really long time since we've caught up. You know what I mean? I don't think we've seen each other ever since quarantine happened. You know what I mean? I don't think we even saw each other at graduation. You know what I mean?
I didn't even go to graduation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's true. I remember
it was a waste of time, honestly. So you drove up in this line of cars, right? You sit there and you walk like 20 feet. And then you look at the principal in the face, and he looks down at you, and then he spits on your forehead, and you go back, and then you get back into your car, and you're like, "See ya." That was it. That was the whole graduation.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Right.
Yeah, obviously, because we all graduated in 2020, so school shut down in April, and then, well, I think April or May or March, sometime around then, and then it was starting to get serious around the time where we were graduating. So what our school did personally, I know others did differently, but we had to all have this big line of cars just driving through, and then we'd like walk across the football field and then like say hey, and then we'd meet up our parents on the other side of the football field that had driven all the way over there. It just was not a good time.
You went though, right?
To graduate. Yeah, I did. I met up with a few of the guys because you had to schedule when you wanted to see your friends, because you would only be able to walk around the same time as like 4 or 5 of them because you had to sign up in advance. It was. But
low key, it was awesome because after it, they would send everybody like a USB drive of graduation. And like the footage was like several hours long. So I just deleted it and I got like 14.5 gigabytes of free data on like a USB drive, which you never get anywhere. You know what I mean? Where are you going to find a 14.5 gigabyte USB drive? You know what I mean? And I got it for free. It's a win-win. Easy Dubsky Roonies. You know what I mean?
And it was insane because they sent that to I think like all the seniors.
Yeah,
and
they sent to everyone.
Our school is like the max size in Utah, I'm pretty sure. Both in terms of like population and like actual size. So like our school is well, I don't know if
It
I
was
should
really big.
but there were a lot of graduating people. So like to give every single student an individual USB drive was insane. I have no idea that's what they decided to spend it on.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the IT guy who had to go copy paste, insert. Oh, that'd be tedious work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it was at the end of the day, we all just deleted the graduation video off of our stuff so we could get a couple free gigs. You know what I mean? Man,
Marcus, did you do that too?
Stuff.
Nah, man. I mean, I like I don't really use USBs anyway, so I don't think I even opened the thing until like 5 months later. I'm like, oh, there's a USB here.
But you should. There's like 20 gigs of free space in there, man.
Yeah, I will. If
Are you going to get that?
I don't know where I put it.
Yeah. All so right. what I did on graduation was, so obviously I didn't go, and I kind of feel bad because Danny, Danny, and Sam took a bunch of good pictures. So I was like, damn.
I don't know if they were good, but we took pictures.
You guys took pictures, and I was like, oh, I wanted to be part of that. But the very next day, I drove to the school and I was like, hey, I need my diploma. And I'm like, why didn't you go yesterday? I'm like, and I straight up told them I didn't want to. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then they just handed me my diploma and I walked out. And then I just took a picture of it and sent it to the group chat with Sam, with all the guys. And they're like, they didn't even respond to it. They're like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, that was my experience. So in hindsight, probably a bad choice, but I hate waiting in long lines, dude, honestly. So not too bad.
One thing I will say though that I regret about high school is that because we were doing like higher level programs, I personally didn't get the chance to I don't know if it's such a great opportunity, but I didn't have a job like throughout all of high school, and to this day I still haven't had like I've technically been employed, but I have not had like an actual part-time job. Which is something that I think I'm a little behind on, and it'd be kind of nice to have that experience under my belt. Have you guys had jobs throughout high school or after high school?
Yeah, I have. So ever since I was 12, I used to work at like my family's restaurant, you know what I mean? And that was fun. We actually sold it like 2 weeks ago, which was pretty sad, but it was fun. And then after high school ended, I worked as a salesman for, whoever hired me, you know what I mean? It was actually the worst job ever.
Really?
Yeah. So I remember they called themselves a marketing agency, or like it was called Imperial Marketing Agency or Imperial Marketing Solutions. That's what it was. And so I called in, I set up my application and I sent in my interview. And the lady said, you know what? After training or during training, you'll only make minimum wage. But after training, once you become a senior account manager, you make $15 an hour. Now, at that point, when I heard the words senior account manager, I should have picked up on it, that this was a multi-level marketing scheme and that I was getting scammed out of my mind. But I didn't pick up on that. So I continued to think that, hey, this is a good job. And so the way that the lady said it, she made me get the impression that it was like phone sales where you'd be calling people and like making sales and doing like stock trades, you know what I mean? Like, oh, are you telling me that you can't afford $5,000 to put money into Disney? What are you cheap idiot? That was what I was thinking I was going to do. I was thinking I would be like Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort type beat. You know what I mean? They call me Asian Jordan Belfort. And so I go in on the first day and on the interview, right? And the dude is like, oh, this right here is your desk, all right? This is where you're going to be doing your business. And I was like, all right, this is awesome. And so that was during my interview. And I was like, all right, I'll work here for sure. All right. And so I go into the first day, they hand me a script and I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm getting ready to like talk to people on the phone and everything. And all of a sudden, one of my coworkers, she's like my second boss. She's like, get in the car. Let's go. We're going out. And I'm like, what? She's like, let's go. And I was like, I thought I was going to be like working at a desk and like doing phone calls. And she's like, let's go. And so I get into her car. I literally have no idea what's going on, right? We drive for 45 minutes to the Utah-Idaho freaking border, dude. I literally think that I thought for a second that she was going to drag me into like a field with like 45 KKK members and they were just going to rock my stuff in the middle of the field, dude. I was freaking terrified. And so I remember thinking, and I'm in the passenger seat, I'm like, hey, if she drags me somewhere, you think I can just kick her in the face real quick and then just like, commandeer the car? I probably can, right? I mean, she's just a weak little girl, or like not a girl, but she looks pretty weak, So it's not even the first day hasn't even ended yet, and I'm already thinking of like kicking my coworker in the face, which usually that happens like 6 months into a job. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so she drives me all the way to the Utah-Idaho border. It's like, and then we go into a Target. Get this, bro. We're selling lines for AT&T in the middle of a Target. There's no appointments. You just go up to random people shopping and be like, excuse me, sir, quick question for you. Who are you currently using for a service provider? And would you like to switch to AT&T? And I was like, that, and that was what she coached me on that entire day. And I was like, there's no freaking way. I thought I was doing phone sales, but now here I am in the middle of a Target selling AT&T, the world's crappiest service, to some random people who don't even want me there, right? And it was the worst job ever because every single day I would have to dress up in this freaking hot suit. I was in like a tuxedo. I looked like such a dweeb, and go up to people and be like, excuse me, sir, would you like to buy some AT&T lines? And they'd be like, screw off. You know what I mean? I remember one time I had this old man and he like called me several racial slurs. And I remember sitting there. I was like, would I kill an old man? Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah.
And I just as I was about to start, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remembered. I was like, wait, at the end of the day, I'm just some stupid Asian kid in some like tuxedo asking people if they want to switch over to AT&T. You know what I mean? If some idiot came up to me and asked me to switch to AT&T, I'd probably want to knock his lights out too. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll just have to take the L. And the craziest part is that the company that I was working for, it freaking imploded on itself. 3 months at working at the marketing agency, like the dude was firing people left and right because they weren't making enough sales. And I was like the best salesman on the team because, me, right?
Yes, sir.
And, and nobody was making any sales. And then I was the only employee there, along with the girl who took me to a Target the first day and the boss. It was just 3 people in the company at that point. And then the girl's like, I want to go back home to California. And the dude's like, all right, well, I guess we're done. And so the company freaking imploded because the dude kept firing everybody. He actually did hire one more person, but then they all quit within 2 days because they're like, this is the worst job ever. I have no idea why I stuck around that long. But at the end of the day, I can flex and say that within my company, I was the number 1 employee for 2 entire months.
Hey,
and I kept the company from going under.
You know what though? That looks real good on a resume.
It does. That's why I put on several of my resumes. I'd be like, I was the number 1 salesman for AT&T within my company for 2 months. And within 1 week of getting there, I had the most sales, which is not a lie, by the way. I sold like within the first week, I was like kind of the GOAT. You know what I mean? It was fun.
So do you like sales or like that's not your thing anymore?
I do. It's just I don't enjoy going up to random people while I'm in a tuxedo, asking them to buy the world's crappiest products. You know what I mean? I think sales is definitely a technique, or it's like something I feel like most extroverted people should learn. You know what I mean? It is such a helpful. Because if you think about most conversations are like a sale where you're trying to convince somebody of something. Sometimes the most important thing that I learned in sales is that sometimes you gotta take a step back to take 2 steps forward. You know what I mean? And a lot of people make decisions based off of emotions rather than logic. I could talk to this schnook and be like, here's 100 reasons as to why you should get AT&T, and he would never listen to me. But the moment that I like start talking crap to him, I'm like, yo, are you seriously going to let your wife and kids put up with your crappy current internet service? No. So switch to AT&T. All of a sudden, he just wants to switch like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you present him with logic and he's never going to listen, but all of a sudden you like threaten his ego or whatever, and then he'll be like, all right, I'm switching. You know what I mean?
Yeah. People tend to like buy with logic. No, buy with emotion and reason with logic. I think 100% is something like that. Yeah. Dude, that's smart though. I
Yeah,
think it's helped you though. It's like giving you a bunch of like a life skill.
yeah,
Right?
it is probably one of the most is like so fun to see yourself get good at sales too. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I remember like back when I was doing the job, like my mind always like felt so like sharp during a conversation. You know what I mean? I felt like I could convince people of a lot of like a lot of things a lot more easily than before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of going back into sales eventually because it's just like it keeps the mind sharp. You know what I mean? It's good to get into practice because it's such an important skill.
Yeah. 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 So my experience with jobs has been I started like an LLC, Marcus, you know about this.
Well, I know of it, but I don't know that much about it.
Yeah, so like again, it was junior year, the summer of junior year, or would it be the summer
I
of
think
senior year?
the summer before junior year, I'm pretty sure.
No, it's just junior year ended and then the summer.
Yeah, that's what it was because yeah, wouldn't have been in the program before
Okay,
then.
anyway, yeah, I had a brilliant idea to start an LLC company because I've always wanted to do like what's known as social media marketing, and it has a bad rep now because the market's really saturated. But at the time, it wasn't as bad. Um, so yeah, I started doing that for the summer, and I was doing it like freelance at first, but then I had an idea to create an LLC for tax purposes. Um, but I didn't put any branding behind the LLC. And yeah, and that's what I've been doing. I don't want to get too into detail because it would probably bore people if they don't know much about business. But yeah, and I'd been doing that, just marketing, creating like Instagram pages and then like Facebook ads and stuff for various companies around Utah. And I've been doing that since then. Yeah, and
Good
that's been my
stuff.
job. What about you,
That's
MJ?
cool. And like, huh?
What about you? Lazy?
What do you mean? What about me? I don't have a job other than this one. Content
Exactly.
creation, man. That's my new job.
Dude, it's fun
Good
though.
stuff. It is fun.
I
It's
don't know.
like, yeah,
I saw some of your content, Ty,
yeah,
and I gotta say, I was laughing, dude.
yeah.
Speaking of which,
So
yeah. Uh, just so everyone knows, Tony Tai is actually a content creator. You guys might know him by KFC Legends.
Yes, sir.
Um,
yeah,
you make some good stuff. You've been going
Yeah,
for a
dude.
while too, haven't you?
I yeah. So I remember back in freshman year of high school, I was like, why don't I just make a YouTube channel? Because it's always been my dream. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so I started, and then I deleted every single video that I had when it was like 2020 because I wanted to make a fresh start. You know what I mean? And then I've been wanting to keep on making content, but unfortunately I haven't because my parents keep me on a tight freaking leash. And so if they see me like doing content while I'm in their house, is like a no fly with them. You know what I mean? So I'm just waiting until I move out and then I'll be able to make it. But I've got like 1,500 subs. It's pretty good stuff.
Dude, that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah. But my goal, and it's kind of crazy for me to say this on camera, but my goal is to be like one of the top 10 YouTube channels in the world within 7 years. So once I move out, I'm going to be working really hard to make that happen. You know what I mean? Because
Heck yeah,
it has
dude.
always been like my life goal to, you know, just be a YouTuber. You know what I mean? That's like the dream job for me. It always has been ever since I was like, ever since like I knew what YouTube was. And it's like, you know, I really want to make that happen. But it's a fun job. I really enjoy it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And that's super cool, man. I mean, like 1.5K. That's crazy for like the subscriber count. I mean,
Yeah.
Han and I like our first video because we just put it out to our family and friends.
We weren't
got, like,
expecting. Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't expecting like anything. So we got 20 subscribers and we're like, yo, that's insane. And it still is insane. So thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
But like 1.5, like that number is astronomical and kind of hard to comprehend in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, part of content creation is it's all about momentum. You know what I mean? So you just gotta think of each video that you make as like a lottery ticket. Like eventually it will get discovered. You know what I
Right.
mean? Good content will always draw people to it, and eventually good content will make its way up, right? But once in a blue moon, you have like a video that pops off. Like normally your videos, say for example, get like 100 views, and then all of a sudden that one might get 1,000 or 2,000. I've had some hit 150,000. You know what I mean? And then when you pop like that, you know, all of a sudden your views spike, your subscribers spike, and the most important thing,
You got to take advantage of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got to ride that momentum all the way to the very end. You know what I mean? Like I think if one of my videos ever popped off, I'd drop everything that I do that moment and I'd start pumping out content for like the next 3 days just to ride that wave. You know what I mean? Like I missed the wave. It happened to me twice in the past, and I missed the wave both times. But you know what I mean? Like I'm pretty determined not to let that happen again.
Yes, that's a good point. The reason that's partially the reason. I told Marcus we should market on TikTok, because TikTok for the most part has like insane potential to like
It does.
to just like blow up, and then like you can obviously link all your other social media and other like platforms that you're on, and then gain followers that way. But that's pretty much our main if we do choose, or if we ever do, like fingers crossed, like blow up or go big, it'd most likely be on TikTok, I imagine.
Most definitely. Yeah. Their algorithm is just so much better than
it's insane,
like
dude.
YouTube,
actually,
anybody else's. Yeah.
The other day I saw it was an article from the Wall Street Journal, and the algorithm that TikTok creates is insane. It shows you exactly what you want. Like it gives you a bunch of different videos, and like however long you stay on the video, like is information that it's gathering to give you like exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Dude,
it's so interesting. And I think the algorithm, at least for people who are trying to like get big, is light years ahead of like YouTube, because YouTube's algorithm is good, but if you're trying to get discovered, like absolutely not. You know what I mean? It's so much harder than on TikTok. On TikTok, you post something mildly interesting, it can get thousands of views, sometimes even hundreds of thousands. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, that's hundreds of thousands more views than you will have ever gotten posting on, like, for example, Twitter or Instagram or YouTube. The algorithm is just so much more robust on TikTok that it's like, it's not even, it would be almost insane to compare them. You know what I mean? Like, totally two different leagues.
But yeah, I mean, like, internet jobs are so interesting because they work entirely differently from anything IRL, at least as far as I would know. It's not like I have that much experience either way, but like we talk about algorithms and all these sorts of things, and like, I mean, there's even like esports and that sort of thing, where fundamentally they're similar to real life sports, but they just work entirely differently in terms of like the connections you make and like the companies and things that run them. And it's a huge world. It's super weird to think about.
It is sad because in America, at least, or in most Western cultures, esports isn't taken really seriously. But in places like China and Korea, being on an esports team is like being, for example, the head of or like the quarterback for a football team. You know what I mean? It's not looked down on. It's like people actually think it's like cool as hell there. You know what I mean? Which is sort of what I hope to see in more Western cultures, because that's why Korea wins every esports tournament, because we look down on it and Korea thinks it's like cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's starting to get a little bit more serious here. Barely.
For sure.
Like it's just barely getting there. Because I know some universities, like the U, I know they have like an esports team, or they have several esports team, and so as well as like some other colleges. So it's starting to get there, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, for sure. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys, so like League of Legends, the world finals is actually happening today, and it's pretty crazy. You know what I mean? There's a lot of Korean teams out there, but there's also some teams from America, and they're actually doing pretty well. Like, oh, this is funny. There is a team called Unicorns of Love as a team for the esports team in League of Legends, and they got stomped into the freaking dirt by Cloud9. Can we get an amen for the Unicorns of Love getting turned into mincemeat by Cloud9? Let's freaking go, Cloud9, baby. Let's freaking go. All right.
Cloud9 is a big team.
It is huge. Yeah. Like 100 Thieves, TSM, you know, I mean, they're all competing in worlds, and it's also pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
did you ever play League of Legends?
I do, actually. I'm not that good at it. I started 3 months ago, but I just play with some friends like every night, and trying to get good. You know what I mean?
I've never played League of Legends. It's a MOBA game, right?
Yeah, it's like a strategy.
Yeah, I love those games. I used to play one called it's like similar to League of Legends, called Vainglory. Well, I used to play it, and I got pretty good at that game. But I've never tried League of Legends. I heard it's really good though.
It would be if it wasn't for the people being so freaking toxic all the time, which makes sense because some games can last 40 minutes, they can last up to an hour.
Yeah.
And if there's one person on your team that's absolute dog water, and then they like end up helping the other team,
They throw the game,
you throw the game. So it's like 5 people. If one of them just messes up, then your 40 minutes or your 1 hour have all been to waste. You know what I mean? And it's easy to see why people get so toxic and like competitive over a game, because it's like, well, if I'm going to be investing an hour of my time into something, I better freaking win. You know what I mean? Or at least get better. But sometimes it's hard to improve when you're getting stomped into the dirt for an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're gonna go into the like esports and stuff, or like start making like content related to like games and stuff?
Maybe.
You should, dude.
The only esports that I've ever been like I would say that I'm pretty good at is Pokemon. And it's going to sound very cringe because a lot of people will be like, oh, Pokemon is a kid's game. And it 100% is, but the competitive scene is actually pretty crazy because Pokemon at the end of the day is a kid's game. I agree, but there's a lot of hidden numbers and like different values that most people will never know about. And once you pay attention to those hidden numbers, it makes the competitive scene like so freaking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it stops being a kid's game and becomes like a lot more competitive once you try and like you sort of like think about what your opponent's going to do next. And it's like, you know what I mean? It sounds so silly because at the end of the day, people think Pokemon and it's like is a stupid kids game. But I promise you the competitive scene is like so much harder than you think it is. You know what I mean? And so at one point, I remember like I think I was within like the top like 5% of like competitive. But that was back in high school. I haven't touched it since then. You know what I mean? Because it's just like I just felt kind of cringe about it. You know what I mean? I was like, oh yeah, I play Pokemon competitively. And I know that I just said that like is very hard. Like the competitive seems pretty difficult, but you know, it's hard to get people to take you seriously. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of brings up an interesting point to me, though, is that like Pokemon, I didn't even know that like it was potentially competitive or esport or anything like that. But like, I don't know, it's interesting to me, like how certain games become esports. Like I know of League, I know of Rocket League, and obviously Pokemon now. But other than that, I don't know like
Smash? Super Smash Bros. Smash, Ultimate. Yeah.
But like, I don't know what makes an esport an esport, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
tournaments, isn't it?
It's like just the tournament. Audience, you know what I mean? So like, for example, Smash Melee is like, it's a very, very old game, but because the audience is there and because they see Smash as the most like, they see it as like the most competitive Smash of all time because there's like frame perfect moves. For those of you that don't know, a frame is 1/30th of a second, right? So that means that sometimes you need to press buttons within a certain 1/30th second window, which is like unfathomable to a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like, you could even say that's impossible, but some people do it within these competitive games. You know what I mean? So I guess part of it comes down to how much the audience appreciates it and how big the audience is, 100%. And the second is how competitive it is. You know what I mean? Like how much of a competitive aspect there is. You know, like a Smash Melee wasn't made to be an esport. It was just made to be a party game. But because there's some crazy things that you can pull off that give you such a competitive edge above people, but they're also at the same time virtually impossible to pull off. That's what makes it a competitive game. You know what I mean? And that's why
people like seeing the impossible, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Something insane. It was really attention grabbing.
Yeah. Like one of the most popular, or there's like the most famous gaming moment in esports history was there's Street Fighter, right? And I think you've seen it before, where the dude like he does a combo, but the dude like blocks every single hit. There's like 30 hits or something, and he parries every single one of them within like a 1 frame window. You know what I mean? So that's like hitting like a one out of 30 frames. You know what I mean? And you hit that like 30 times in a row, which is like impossible. You know what I mean? It's literally impossible. But I agree with you. People love seeing the impossible happen, and they love to see people get like crazy good to the point where it's like the average player and the competitive player is like they're not even playing the same game anymore. You know what I mean? I think that's just what makes esports so sick, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's not even like in its own way. It's just like outright there is a really high skill potential for lots of these different games, and like that is kind of, I think, what legitimizes it, or in some people it doesn't legitimize it as like an actual viable career path or something that could be respectable. Because like, I don't know, I've personally talked to people about esports sometimes, and they're like, yeah, but like, I don't know, you can get professional in like, I don't know, 2 3
Right.
years, and like that's nothing compared to what all these athletes have put like their lives into.
Yeah.
um but like, I don't know, I feel like even though like you can in some cases get to a pretty high level in lots of these games, like even professionals, as far as I've seen, just because you're professional does not mean that you're of the highest level or you can do everything to the very best. So I think that applies to real life sports as well.
So like there's a in league, at least there's a competitive dude called Faker, right? He's in Korea. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but
Mm.
he's like so far, he's a professional, but a lot of other professionals can't even like stack up to him. He's like so far ahead of everybody else because he's a prodigy, right? And like they even built an entire team just so that way they could support him. People look down at esports a lot, but is like it genuinely takes a lot of skill. You know what I mean? And being professional is definitely hard. And you know, I think it is a shame that a lot of people look down on it in America and westernized cultures, because I think the moment that we stop looking down on it, that's when we start taking worlds. You know what I mean? That's when we start taking like world finals and we become the best in the world.
Yeah.
And it opens up a lot of career paths for a lot of people, which is silly because we don't like see gaming as a career, but 100% is, especially with streaming nowadays. You know, people pay to see you play a game and be like freaking goated at it.
And you can make a lot of money, right? The other day I saw a TikTok and it was like a mom, like she said like she no longer wants to, like she quit her job because her son is making like 7 figures playing like gaming and stuff. And I'm like, that's just insane to me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I saw some of the, like the prize pools for some of these tournaments, and like they're millions of dollars in the big ones, and it's serious stuff.
Like the Fortnite kid or whatever. There's I don't even remember what his name is, but he won a tournament and become like a millionaire overnight. You know what I mean?
I remember. I was putting
crazy. And which is like good because it was such a big game, but at the same time, there's also a long way to go. You know what I mean? Like there are also some people on the flip side who have gone into like esports, but they can't. But after like a few years, they can't make it because they literally make almost no money. Because even though they're professionals, they don't make that much money. You know, that maybe their team's not the best, or maybe they don't win like 20 games in a row or whatever, and then all of a sudden, like they stop making money. And also, there's not enough sponsors for these sorts of teams because you know sponsors haven't even considered esports to be like a viable thing that they can sponsor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as like serious goes, especially in like Western cultures, I've seen it occasionally, and like with I think with the League of Legends tournament that's happening right now, one team that I saw was Galatasaray, and like that is predominantly a Turkish football team, like a professional football team, and like I've seen in other esports, like I know Manchester City has an esports team, I know Barcelona has an esports team in various esports, and like PSG and all these big, you know, actual sports, and these organizations are starting to try to invest into esports, and I feel like that kind of speaks levels, at least in Europe, about the seriousness that esports is kind of ramping up to be overall, and I feel like that'll probably eventually carry over into other aspects of the culture in the West.
For sure. In fact, ESPN sometimes once in a blue moon they'll like put esports tournaments up there. Like I've seen CS:GO tournament, esports tournament on ESPN, and like during COVID when nobody could like meet up or anything, like you remember seeing people play like NBA 2019 on ESPN.
NBA 2K,
yeah. So it's like, it's good.
I think the United States will eventually get there, because typically they want to be like number one in everything, right?
For sure.
And once they realize that it's a huge, like, also like money wise, right? It's a huge market that's like, fairly like untouched. They're gonna get there, and then the United States is probably gonna dominate in every aspect of esports eventually.
But
It's like
something
10 years or
interesting that I
something.
found was that the average like Korean high school gamer is like oftentimes at the same level as like a freaking professional here in the United States. You know what I
Oh my
mean?
God, that's
And it's just because
insane.
of the culture there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and or it's not the average Korean high schooler, but like, a high schooler in Korea that's like above average, you know what I mean? In like a top 25 can you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think, but I've heard like this statistic before, but don't quote me on it. But it's just so crazy. It's all a matter of culture, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like the esports culture, like Korea freaking loves it, and that's why they're so ahead of the game. And America looks down on it, and so that's why we're so behind. You know what I mean? But I do think America is going to, out of all the westernized cultures, I think it'll be the one that catches up fastest because we already do have a pretty solid foundation through like TSM, 100 Thieves, Cloud9, things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We already do have a pretty solid foundation, so we've set up.
Okay, well, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah.
So, brother,
Thanks
it
so
was
much for having me
fun.
on the show, guys. I appreciate it. This
Yeah,
is
man.
fun.
Yeah, it was good stuff. As always, all of the different platforms that we're on will be in the description if you're on YouTube, or you can check out our accounts on Instagram, TikTok, SoundCloud is a bit of an issue. We can talk about that a little bit. SoundCloud doesn't let us post more than like 3 hours of content, I don't think.
Yeah, and we reached the cap already.
Wow.
Yeah, so we are still on there. But
The first
so
3
you can check
episodes.
it out if you want. But yeah, so 3 episodes are in there. And then we're also on Spotify and then YouTube, of course. And I think that's all, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And obviously, Tony, you can call it all your channels and everything you wanna link.
Yeah. I just got one to call out. It's on YouTube, KFC space legends, KFC, like, Kentucky Fried Chicken legends, like, legend. Yeah, that's my channel. I've got 1,500 subscribers, and you can join the club, I guess. I don't post very much anymore, but give me 6 months and I'll be back on top of my game, and then I'll stand at the top of YouTube. All right, so join before I hit 10,000 subs, just to flex, just to say that you're here when it happened. All right, believe it, baby.
So,
All right, but thanks so much for having me,
Good stuff,
guys.
man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and those links will be at the top of the description, so you can just check it out there. Tony's awesome, post great content. Yeah, thank you so much again, and we'll see you around.
Thanks so much.
Later.
All right, bye.